Hello, this is episode 4 of The Human Potential. Hi, I'm your host and channeler, Dr. Wendy Rowley, and I'm starting to find this information getting a little interesting. On this episode, we're going to get information about new inventions coming. So I'm going to do my best to really get out of the way and not put any thoughts into that, so we get a really clear and pure channel about what could be coming based on the potentials of, as Allaenea explained to us, they read in the human crystalline grid at the creational level of what's coming in for us. And I do believe that there's a difference in saying potentials versus predictions. Potentials are like saying, looking good, it looks like we're doing it. Whereas a prediction sounds like something cut in stone. That's just how I see the differences. And so I like to speak of potentials. And when you've had a reading by someone sometimes, and they tell you something that's a little, not worrisome, but it does make you kind of go, ooh, that's coming in the future, that can be a little difficult to handle because you end up going through time looking out for it. I don't particularly enjoy that aspect of reading or getting that aspect of reading from readers, because what can you do about that? But I do love hearing about good potentials. So I find I say, I don't really need to know about that, because all it does is make me worry about it. And can I avoid it? And what can we do to change that? And so you end up being hyper vigilant, but sometimes heads up are good. It's individual and the case is individual. So I don't want to make sweeping generalizations. So I'm just going to get out of the way and see what we have here on coming potentials of inventions. All right. And please like, subscribe, and comment if you feel inclined. Thank you. Okay. I think I forgot to say, this is Dr. Wendy Rowley. I'll be back soon. Oh, all right, dear ones. This is Allaenea of Cosmic Service, Pleiadian Mother of Sound. We are very happy to be back in this series and episode with you. This one took a little bit of a break. She needed it, and she does that in the summer, and it's a good thing. You all should be taking a break in the summer, in the July, August timeframe. Don't you feel you don't really want to do a lot? As we've told this one, you at the soul group level with your soul group energy are being used as a planetary engine to bring in some new things and new energies in August every year. So there's a feeling like, don't really want to do that. Now, this one's wondered, does it happen differently at the other end of the globe? Is it like something here and then something here? How does it work? Are we all doing it on the whole? A little too much minutia information, because perhaps this is happening with you all at a soul group level, way out at the periphery of the planet. So we're not going to get into that in detail. You can't even imagine that yet, but you will get there when you get more sensitive instruments and you get more understanding of the physics that's really going on in your planet. So we're going to leave that with that. But let's talk about the potentials coming on your human crystalline grid. And let's talk about the potentials that could be coming through the overlay that is now active, that has never been active, of what we are calling some people call it the interim Christ grid. We're calling it the interim creational grid. It's the grid that has our solutions and time capsule information on it that sweeps in through that grid. That's another system, but it does sweep in through that grid. That's how the information flows, and then flows into your grid, and then it's received. It's like a galactic highway of scintillating light information. Think of it that way. So in your potentials of your Akash, not from what we have, but from what you already are percolating at your level, there are 3 new forms of energy under the works that are non-toxic, don't use rare earth minerals, and have the potential to go to the masses. There are 3 new forms of energy that are clean, don't rape earth minerals, and have the potential to go to the masses. So keep your eyes out for these. We're not going to go into the details of them. That's not right. Patents, infringement, levels of development, proprietary information. But we're going to tell you the 3 criteria of the new forms of energy production that are coming forward that will actually probably be the ones of your future, because those are their 3 criteria that they all share in common. So that's the first thing we wish to share. There's 3 of those. The second thing we wish to share is that in the medical field, there is actually someone developing a device already that's kind of like a Dr. Spock thing from Star Trek. We mentioned it in one of the previous human potential videos, but we're going to elaborate on it a little bit more without ruining their invention, proprietary secrets, and without going too deeply into it. But we're going to bring up the subject because it's very much related to healing, because it is based on frequency. It's a device that can read the frequency of 3 levels of your being. It has an ability to read dense body. It has an ability to read the emotional state, and it has an ability to read the etheric energy. So it's reading physical, astral, and etheric. Interesting. Astral is your feeling nature. It also connects you to your soul and your intuition. Etheric is form and structure, thought, motion, cycle, breath, periodic cycles of your soul, higher self energy. Motion, rhythm, cycle, and breath, and period are some of it. So it's reading that level, and it's reading the physical biochemistry, kind of like a life force level, but maybe more a little bit at the electrical level of that. So this is a device that is coming in that is ahead of the discoveries to prove that it works. This is on purpose. And that's all we have to say about that. We have 5 of these inventions we're going to bring forward. So let's get into the third. The third one has to do with fossil fuels. The third one has to do with fossil fuels. The third one has to do with fossil fuels. It was predicted long ago that the earth would start to almost like withdraw the oil from humanity. And then they came up with fracking. And they're squeezing it out of the rocks and wherever they can get it. And this is actually happening. It is a truth. How is it happening? It's an alchemy of Mother Earth that you are not even able to comprehend at this time. Is the oil her blood? No. But she has the ability to move things. And I'm going to leave it at that. So this reduction in oil is part of the fluctuating of throwing oil in and out and in and out, because deep down they know this. So and they're confused, and they think maybe it's running out. They don't know if it's all connected by a oil vein system in there. They've got a lot of theories. They just think maybe the wells are going dry. We're not going to go into that, but what we are going to tell you is that this is purposeful. This is purposeful so that you go to better forms of energy. In other words, things that take from the earth are being a little bit coaxed to no longer function so well, if you see that. Because the earth needs these things for other things that you don't understand. And we're going to leave it at that. Okay, number 4. And that was just to make you realize that Electric is not the way, and oil is not the way. I'm going to leave it at that and close the door on that subject. So the fourth thing we wished you to have understanding about is in your food supply. It has become being very obvious that large-scale food production is difficult to maintain the purity and the nutritional value and the quality. So the idea that there need to be satellites of food production are starting to become more well understood, that there's division of food production, and don't put it all in one place, and don't make it all dependent on a few companies, and this is obvious. You can determine this by your news and the baby formula scare and other things that you've seen. But what you are not understanding is that the earth and the droughts and the water supply thing is actually not a random accident. It is not caused, it is caused, yes, by solar flares, and they affect weather. And there's more and more and more things you're going to discover about that. But it is part of a purposeful creation, because what it's doing is it's making you become aware of how you need to change your food supply. And it's making you aware that you need the earth. And it's making you aware that the food needs to be higher quality and needs to be of better quality and needs to be more nutritionally dense. And it needs to have natural earth in it. Farming practices in greenhouses are finding out there's limitations. And so we are giving you a bunch of puzzle pieces of problems in the food supply. And we're also giving you pieces on shipping and problems with that. You saw the decline of goods and food services and various things during COVID. And so you are starting to realize we need a more solid and dependable food system. And so what we're saying is food is not going to become pseudo food. And food is not going to become all grown in little pure labs and greenhouses. But food is going to be found to have a relationship to Mother Earth, whereby you need a relationship of sustaining of food through Mother Earth. And therefore, you need the earth involved in food production. Vague. What we're saying is that you need the earth involved in food production because there is a stream of energy that comes out of earth into plants and into animals, your two food sources, and of course into trees and nuts and seeds and berries and all those things. But your two major food sources growing through animals and out of the earth require this earth energy. And that is going to open a door to different types of farming practices. Right now, they're getting to the container things and all that, and that's kind of cool. But we're talking about a whole nother level. And we're talking about something that's going to come in and begin to percolate in about, in your time and space, maybe 20 years from now. So keep an eye on that and support that, because that is very cool. And that is going to lead into solving many problems for you all. The fifth and final thing we wish to talk about is the fact that there is percolating in your communication and telecommunication and industries of technology a new kind of approach to creating machines. It has been talked about. It has been given some detail about, but there is something happening there in a direction that it can go in that has not been talked about. And that's what we wish to talk about. There's been talk about living tissue structures as batteries that you might have to take care of in phones. There has been talk about silent magnetic engines in cars. There has not been talk about the two of them being together. There has been talk about little batteries of skin that you maintain. There has been talk about magnetic spin batteries or batteries you don't have to recharge based on elegant magnets that spin. It's coming through a few sources. And we're talking about a combination of the two that create a type of not a free energy system. It's not the same as that, but it's a continually cycling of energy system. It's a cycling of energy system, a recycling of energy, recycling of energy, recycling of energy system. And that is going to come probably again in about the next 20 years. So keep an eye out for that one, because that will lead you to a whole bunch of other things. Now, the last two that we mentioned, why have we mentioned those? Because we recognize those as being gateways to something that is on the interim creational grid, that is from our planetary system in a time capsule, that is a segue to leading into that. So those two technologies and sciences of new combos of what those were are segues to be able to pick up information that is in the human crystalline grid. And in truth, all five that we mentioned are segues, but the last two in particular are profound segues. So this was vague, but to those who might receive this information, who are on the edge of any of these technologies and coming inventions or already in the works inventions, we just want to give you some hints and some little directives of hints so that you understand the profundity of what you are doing. This is what we wish you to know this day. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do. And this one's in the background going, and aren't those the areas we need the most help with now? Of course, that's the way it would work. Peace be with you. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do. This is Allaenea of Cosmic Service, Plutonian Mother of Sound, and we bid you adieu. All right, this is Dr. Wendy Rowley. This is episode 4 of The Human Potential. And I'm glad to see some potentials being talked about so that we get the foundation title moving through these series of episodes. I hope you're enjoying this and that you find it hopeful, inspiring, and uplifting. Have a great time, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Oops.